At 71 years old, Nancy Ray Hartz dove headlong into the online dating pool and never resurfaced.
All she was looking for was just someone to love and someone to love her.
The person she ran off with was this man, someone who called himself Ray.
Why was it so significant that the Daily Miner broke the story?
The community read it, people outside of the community read it, and Lyle Sharman was introduced to Denise and Sherry.
Lyle Sharman, a private investigator who at the time had 34 missing persons cases under his belt. After meeting with Nancy's kids, he made it 35.
In this case, my action plan was simple. It was try to make contact with Nancy Hartz. One of the first things that I did was took a look at the emails that the family gave me. One email was from Nancy Hartz. The second email was from the guy that she disappeared with who went by Ray.
Surprisingly, Lyle gets a reply almost immediately from Ray.
He went on to say that Nancy was fine, that she no longer wanted anything to do with her family. I responded back to him and said, in either event, I need to speak to Nancy Hartz, so just have her call me.
The ultimatum paid off.
I was driving down the road, it was like 3 days later, and my phone rang, and she claimed that it was Nancy Hartz.
But the PI wasn't satisfied, and since he'd never heard the real Nancy's voice, he asked if they could schedule another call, one he could record on the sly. In the meantime, Lyle had the number traced.
So the phone number came back to an apartment complex in Las Vegas. We kind of surveyed for a while, and then we eventually just went to the apartment, knocked on the door. It was obvious within a couple of minutes that Nancy Hartz was not going to be at that location.
A false lead.
What we learned about that phone number was when the account was created, Ray had obviously used someone else's address with someone else's name.
While he waited for that next call, Lyle got with Denise and Sherry to devise a plan.
I said, I want you to give me 3 questions that only your mother would know.
And as a wild card, Lyle decided to throw in a 4th question not even the real Nancy would know. Then, after several days of anxious waiting, the call came in.
Hey, I hate to bother you again. I know you're kind of tired of all this and stuff, but I'm trying to do everything I can to just prove to your daughter that you're okay, so that I can just end this case.
Okay, I have talked to Denise on the phone twice in the past month.
That was news to Denise, but Lyle played along, and once he established a rapport, it was time to start getting more personal. Question 1.
What was the name of the old man that lived across the street when we were kids?
The person talking to Lyle didn't have an answer, but they did have an excuse.
Maybe I need to explain, for instance, the old guy that babysat them. That surprised me because he molested both my girls.
In response to that claim,
We used to make fun of him and call him Birdwatcher.
question 2.
What did my papa call me?
Surely Denise's mother would remember something like that. Instead,
He couldn't stand her because she was the result of an affair that I had.
Denise, what do you make of that?
My papa was my grandfather, and he used to call me his Durango doll. So that's mind-blowing to me.
questions 3 and 4 produced even more suspicious answers, but it was this one that really got Lyle's attention.
The color of the Dodge Charger that you drove when they were little, was that a legitimate question, or?
I did have a Charger, and it was that bluish green color.
Not only was the real car a completely different color,
She never owned a Dodge Charger. My mother owned a Dodge Charger. I made the question up for my own family.
but then it didn't really matter what the person was saying.
The first 2 words out of her mouth, my sister and I looked at each other, and the tears just rolled down our faces. We knew that was not our mother on that recording.
At Lyle's insistence, Denise sets up another meeting with the sheriff's office, and after listening to the new evidence, they agreed to reopen the investigation. One of the first things Nancy's family gives them is that license plate number her son wrote down just seconds before Ray drove her off to destination unknown.
When we started looking into Ray, we found that the name he was using was actually a stolen identity from an individual in the eastern part of the United States.
That name was James Browning Wythe, and the individual it belongs to is actually a famous painter in the art world.
Even using his real social security number and his date of birth. So we reached out to the real James Wythe, and he ended up filing, some reports.
Authorities began searching for the man of many aliases, knowing he could be anywhere from Mexico to Montana, or he could be right next door.
He was arrested on the 13th of April in Yucca, Arizona.
Just 22 miles from where Nancy disappeared.
We were able to arrest him on the stolen identity and false information charges.
Even more outrageous, he was found living with a woman who, like Nancy, had just sold all of her belongings to start a new life with this mystery man.
We don't believe she's an accomplice at all. She's been very cooperative, and we certainly believe that she could have been the next victim.
We tried to track down the woman for comment, only to find she's gone back to her family in California. As for the man she may have just narrowly escaped, his real name is Robert Carnican, a Canadian citizen who has somehow been living illegally in the U.S. since 1993.
How many aliases did he go by?
As 16 or 17.
And that's not even including the stolen identity.
Correct.
So this guy really is an elaborate con man.
Oh, he's very good at playing someone else, yes.
But is he just a con man or something much worse?
He has admitted that he knows Nancy. He claims that the last time he saw her was about a month before he was arrested.
He dropped her off at a local business and never saw her again, according to him.
So then, where is she? When police searched Robert's home in Yucca, they found several guns, one with the serial number filed off. And that's not all.
Were you able to find any of Nancy's belongings, personal possessions with him?
We did find some things that belong to Nancy, yes.
You able to share what that is?
No, we're not at this time.
The fake calls, the new woman. For Sherry, it all adds up to one very tragic conclusion.
I know what he did to her. There isn't a body yet. And I don't understand why he had to do that. Why couldn't you have just taken all of her money if that's what you wanted? Take it, it's just flipping money.
For now, that's only speculation. But just weeks ago, police also found a few very big new clues. Clues that could change the entire course of the investigation. On a computer in the Yucca home, deputies discovered the names and numbers of at least 2 different women.
We began trying to find these women, whether there was anything about this gentleman that they could help us with so that maybe we could find Nancy. And what we found was that these ladies are also missing.
Coming up,
This case is way bigger than just Nancy Hart's.
were Robert Carnican's many aliases concealing one very deadly identity?
We certainly have someone that would fit in that range, yes.